Uh, well, this morning we had to make sure Tim was going to be cleared. So a couple of things we went through this morning. From Jose, um, probably Tim, Jr. And then Cole and probably Quincy up front.
Is there any update on Vaughn? I know he's supposed to be reevaluated soon. I don't
Well,
know
I
what.
think yeah, I think this coming week, he'll get reevaluated. He's looking really good and progressing well, and we're having a hard time kind of keeping him under control in terms of what he can and can't do from day to day. So I think he's trending in the right direction pretty quickly, and hopefully in the next few days we'll get an update, and then we can hopefully start to get him closer back to being with us.
What did you see from Anthony this first game back and not being healthy? Now in the lineup moving forward.
Yeah, well, Clee is a young guy with a lot of energy and just enthusiasm for playing the game, and even though he still has a lot to learn, and obviously recovering from an injury, he hasn't played in a while, but he's just excited to be back, and so I think as he gets healthier and his conditioning continues to improve, we'll be able to find some spaces for him to contribute.
Gary, obviously you guys are kind of doing something long term here. When Carmelo misses a lot of games, does it become easier or more difficult to evaluate which of these guys is really an ideal fit for what you guys need going forward?
Uh, I mean, I don't know if it bears a lot of weight. I do think, um, whether Carmelo is in or out, I think there are still plenty of space to evaluate guys and figure out what guys can do for you, strengths and weaknesses, etc. On a global basis in terms of building a team for the future. You want to be as healthy as possible, in any circumstances, so that would help. But even with the injuries, I think guys that are getting opportunities that can step in and play well and do some good things, that bodes well for how the team will evaluate going forward.
What would a victory mean to this team
Um, I mean, it'd be better than a loss, but I don't know if it would change anything overnight for what we need to be doing day to day. I think we're obviously searching for a win, but I think more importantly we're searching for what winners do in order to win, and that's the harder part of winning, and we're still in the very early stages of developing those type of characteristics and habits from each guy top to bottom.
one of the guys who's got an opportunity with the injuries is Tim Hardaway Jr. starting at shooting guard. What's kind of your evaluation been of him as a starter?
Well, I think whether Tim is starting or coming off of the bench, I think we talked over the summer a lot about the fact that everyone's aware and will probably always be aware of his ability to make shots and shoot the basketball and be an offensive contributor to a team. But his impact on the defensive end is what's going to separate him and start to put him in the the higher echelon of good young two guards in the league. There are a lot of great two-way players at that position, and Tim's facing a lot of those guys night to night in the recent weeks. And I think that's been great experience for him to see how hard it is to be one of the best guys at that position. I think he's learning a lot, and he's doing a lot of good things for us out there.
What can he do? What does he need to do to become more of that good two-way player that we see some of the guys in the league have developed?
Well, I think you have to. There's one part of your game that doesn't have to waver from night to night, and that's the defensive end, and that's what makes really good two-way players special is every night they defend, and then what makes them special is then there are nights where as their game evolves offensively, they become all-star caliber high level players, and so I think for young guys. Um, Often identifying themselves with the offensive end of the floor, if you can kind of flip that and identify yourself as a hardworking, blue-collar defender, scrapper type of guy, the shots, those things will kind of come as time goes on.
Is it challenging for him in a situation where there aren't, you look at this roster, I think you've got
Well, no, I don't think it's difficult in terms of whether there are other guys on our roster to kind of compare himself to or learn from. I just think it's difficult in the climate that we're in, in terms of basketball and sports and what's celebrated the most. Very few guys are celebrated for not showing up in the stat sheet. So most guys are focused on what can I do to be more famous, more notable on television. And it's hard to convince guys that if you can do some things that maybe people don't observe very much, you can still accomplish a lot. And so, that's not a Tim thing. I think that's a lot of guys in our league right now.
If you know, this week be tough on guys who are banged up, the schedule is tough. Will you bring Melo with you on this trip, or will you stay home for the out?
No, I think he'll be with us. I mean, as far as I know, and just
So it's still gonna be game to game deciding if you can make it.
well, I mean, from my perspective, and I think where we are overall. I mean, although I think we're kind of looking at this next week or so being a really heavy stretch, and probably will be best for him not to go. I just think from day to day, it's hard, for a player to say, okay, I'm just going to sit for X amount of time. I think he could, over the next couple of days, decide he is feeling better and wants to be out there with his teammates. And, I think he should be open to do so.
Is there anything going on the trip also?
Say it again, I'm sorry, Mark.
Is Andrea going on the trip, or?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, everyone, is traveling. I think everyone is close enough, even guys that are banged up are close enough to be able to participate in, team activities and shoot around, et cetera. So unless that changes, between now and taking off tonight from a medical perspective, I think he'll be with us.
So he's not back to square one with this. This is just a little minor setback with Andrea.
I mean, I hope so. I don't know if we know for sure whether he's, it's minor and how long it'll be, but I think he's gotten evaluated once. We'll probably get a second opinion just to make sure everybody's on the same page, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Hey, Derek, last year, Kid and the Nets, they started off 10-21, and they won like 33 of the next 46 games. Obviously, it's different circumstances, different rosters, but when you look at that, is that something that kind of gives you hope that, hey, maybe we might be able to do a turnaround like that, or do you think that was just kind of like a once-in-a-blue moon type of thing?
No, I mean, I think, obviously, like you said, different teams, different circumstances, different rosters. Unfortunately, that run for Brooklyn started against Oklahoma City Thunder last year. And I was there when Joe Johnson hit that basket. But no, I think probably a better example is what the Detroit Pistons have done in the last 4 games. Where you go from 5-23, and you win 4 games in a row, and the team starts feeling better about who they are and what they're doing, and whether the Pistons make the playoffs or not. It doesn't take forever to start to, feel better about who your team is and what you're trying to do. And so, I think there are those type of examples we can look to that are more relevant to our team compared to maybe Brooklyn's team last year.
Derek, as a former player and someone who's been to the finals, conference finals, many times, where Stuart Scott was hosting for ESPN.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I have a lot of memories of him, but in particular because of his battle against cancer and how impactful cancer has been in my life and my family's life. It's just a tough day from that perspective. And Stuart was one of the greatest human beings that you'll ever meet. He was obviously a talented reporter and commentator, and people loved watching him and hearing his voice. But getting a chance to interact with him personally as just a man is probably more special than his talent on TV.